Welcome to the third part of our tutorial 1. In this tutorial, we are going to complete the implementation of Struct2 web application development using XML configuration. Before getting into the details of this part, I would like to discuss with you what we have done earlier in our previous two parts of tutorial 1. In the first part, we discussed how to implement a skeleton web application using Maven automated build environment. In the second part, we studied basics behind MVC web application development, and at the end of the second video, we added struct2 code dependency into our project. Now, in this third part, we are going to follow the steps as implementing the web view component of our application, and then adding struct mm, .xml configuration file which contain mapping configuration uh, for our project, and then we will implement the model component of our application which will be implemented using action class. Let's start implementing view component of our application. To do that, I need to add index.jsp and success.jsp into our project. Going to Going back to our project, right click on web apps folder and create a new JSP file named index.jsp. To implement the view component, I am going to use struts UI tags. To use struts UI tags, we need to include tag directory. And we are done with adding tag directory. Now let's implement the form submission using UI tags. Our form has a text field, and it also has a submit button. Now this action will be submitted to a class called hello. Now we are done with implementing index.jsp file. Okay, now I am going to create the return view, which is success.jsp file, which will contain welcome message with your name. Right click on web apps folder and create a new JSP file named success.jsp. We will again be using struct UI tags as earlier. I am using struts property tags to display the username. And let's add welcome message to this username field. Save it, and Now we are done with implementing the view component of our application. Okay, now I am going to implement the mapping component for the application. First, what I am going to do is I am going to go to the resource folder and right click and add a XML file named struts.xml. So here, first thing you need to do is to add the doc type declaration. This is the doc type declaration you need to include into your strut.xml file. Now that mapping component comes inside the strut tags, and you can include a package for your action mapping component. I like to name it as a hello world, hello, and it extends struts default. Now let's start writing the action mapping for hello world action. Action name is hello world action, and it will map to a class called com.example, which is the package, and class is hello world. And it should have a return page. Result is success.jsp. Now save your mapping configuration file. So basically what this says is, when you click on the submit button, it will submit hello world action, and Struct framework will make use of this structs.xml file to find out uh, find out the action mapping configuration. When it finds this action mapping configuration, it will make use of this action class and the return page to determine rest of the processing for the request. Okay, now I'm going to implement the action class. First, let's implement the package directory, which is com.example. So our hello world class will go into this package, and this hello world class should contain a string variable called username and a execute method. So first, this hello world class need to extend action support into class, and it should have a private variable called username. And a execute method. This private username variable need to have getters and setters. So we are done with implementing the action component. Now next thing we want to do is to update our deployment descriptor, which is web.xml. It is located at web apps directory, and inside the web app directory you can find webinf directory, and web.xml file is located inside the webinf directory. Now open that webinf directory, and here you can see I have changed this. I have added the filter, a struct2 filter tag into the web.xml file, and the filter mapping. Uh, what are which these all the URLs will go into this go through these filters, and this is the welcome page. So you need to add this welcome page and the filter mapping and the filter declaration into your web.xml file. So now we are done with implementing our example application. Now let's run and see what happens. Right click on your project and create run, and then you can select run on server. It says our hello world Java is not saved. Click yes to save your changes, and here I have created a Tomcat test server, and click next. If you haven't created a Tomcat server, you need to create that server, and click finish to run your application. Okay, we get an error. What it says is, okay, we get this error because our struct.xml file does not specify the action class correctly. Uh, Here there was a spelling mistake. Correct the word example and the hello world in your implementation, and our action name also should be hello world. Remove the action part from your action name. Now, and get back to your success.jsp page and put a space after the welcome to hello world, welcome to Struts tutorial. Now let's start running this application again. Okay, it will now ask for your username to be submitted, and type whatever the name you want, and when you have clicked submit button, it will say welcome to the Struts tutorial with your name. Now we have completed our first Struts tutorial, where we discussed how to implement a simple Struts web application with XML configuration. In our next tutorial, we will be looking at how to implement Struts applications with the Struts convention plugin, and how to integrate tiles with Struts, and how to integrate Sprint framework with Struts, and how to implement a complete web application with the use of tiles, Struts, Sprint, and Hibernate web frameworks.